We are okay. Yeah. How are you? but in the language. Yeah, just down there. I at this. Then what about the yeah.
Honorable members, Mr. Speaker. Prayer.
Almighty God, who in influence of the your goodness has appointed us to leaders in the parliaments for the certain just government of humanity, we seek you to look upon the abundant favor of your servants, whom we've been pleased for the performance such important trust in this land. Let your blessings stand upon the assembled and grant that they may, in your presence, treat and consider all matters to come their deliberation is so just and fairly manner to promote your honor and glory and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to your church.
Item number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I welcome you to this sitting. The Parliamentary Anglican Chaplaincy is inviting you for a Thanksgiving Holy Communion and Christmas Carol service today, Thursday, 16th December 2021, starting at 4 p.m. at the conference hall. The main celebrant is His Grace, the Most Reverend Dr. Stephen Samuel Kazimba Mugalo, Archbishop of the Church of Uganda. I encourage you to attend. I'll also try to make it possible for me to attend, since I'll still be sitting here. But members, you're invited to come and attend this. The carols is important. Communion is important as we enter this season, which is festive. Honorable members, there's no much communication from the chair today, except that we have to go on with business. Let's start. Order paper.
Item number 3, motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to rescind the directive requiring medical interns to vacate government hospital facilities and to address concerns leading to the medical intern strike.
Thank you very much. Before that motion is presented, honorable members, we have had this meeting. We have had meetings today. We are continuing to have meetings tomorrow with the PSST to find out how far they have gone with the release of the money that we passed, which is part of which was supposed to take care of the issue that is in this motion. And looking at the motion, one of the prayers is that the government to unconditionally pay the medical interns areas and allowances as per the presidential directive. This was already handled by this House, and there is a delay in the Minister of Finance in committing the money. And since the Minister of Finance is here, I'd like him to confirm what I have heard from the PSST, that arrangements are being made to release that money so that this matter can be settled, especially this matter of payment to the medical workers. Would you like to deal with that now?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. It is true the House handled this issue when we passed the supplementary schedule number 1, which included 35.2 billion to take care of allowances and salaries of medical interns, together with the senior staff, something. Mr. Speaker, there is a process which we follow after passing a supplementary, and we have been going through this process. Just today, we received a request from Ministry of Health, and by close of business today, we should have issued a cash limit to them to facilitate them pay the money. I want to believe that by the time we close for Christmas, the medical interns should have been paid. Thank you. This is the latest, Mr. Speaker, information I would like to give to the House.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. And number 1, the Minister of Health to rescind the directive requiring medical interns to vacate government hospital premises. The information I have that the leaders are meeting with the Director General of Health Services tomorrow to handle this particular matter. Honorable, do you have anything to add on this? I received instrument making this man, for now, Minister of Health for these purposes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Yes, there have been engagements, and the leadership of the Forum of Interns Executive Committee approached the Ministry of Health and requested for a meeting, which was granted. And tomorrow, the leadership of the interns shall have a meeting with the Director General of Health Services, most likely also with the leadership of Uganda Medical Association, to discuss these very issues. And therefore, there is progress. There should be no cause for worry. And they have also indicated that they are willing to start on Monday, resuming work. So there is progress moving on.
Okay, now that leaves us with the C, government to ensure that the medical interns smoothly complete their internship. I think this is just rhetorical. It's one of those things that must be done. Otherwise, what is the purpose of sending them to those institutions? So in light of this, I'm going to defer this motion to Tuesday to monitor what developments will take place tomorrow, our meeting with the PSST and the meeting with the leaders of the association, and also need a clear guide on when these monies are likely to be paid, so that when we come back on Tuesday, we are updated and we see what part of the motion will still be relevant, and then we deal with it that way. So we'll handle this matter on Tuesday next week. Next item. Next item on this same matter. It's clear. Next item. It is very clear. Next item. This same thing I've communicated on. No, please.
Item number 4, motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to strengthen efforts for promoting road safety.
Procedure?
Yes.
If it is on the same matter, Honorable.
No, Mr. Speaker, you've ruled, and as you know, you have the last word, so I wouldn't.
I am glad to hear that.
Yes. You got the last word, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, about a fortnight ago, the presiding officer then directed the Committee of Human Rights to look into the issue of the royal guards and the king that are still or remain incarcerated and yet in need of urgent medical attention. Mr. Speaker, sir, I've been monitoring closely. It has occurred to me that the committee has not bothered at all to sit or even to call some of us the representatives. And Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a matter that concerns lives of our fellow citizens. Mr. Speaker, sir, I don't know how long this is going to continue on, that when you give directives, Mr. Speaker, even to a committee of parliament, your directives are ignored in this regard. Mr. Speaker, sir, would it be procedure?
No, they are not ignored. They're implemented slowly.
Slowly? Well, I'm happy to hear that.
Because it's risky business to ignore the speaker's directives.
I thought it was dangerous.
Yes.
Yes, it's a recipe of disaster. Mr. Speaker, sir, this particular matter concerns life. Everything else that we handle on the order paper, I thought it can wait, but not a human life. Mr. Speaker, sir, I continue to get distress calls from the hospital, including the prison authorities, and say, we communicated that your people in the jail need urgent medical attention.
Honorable.
And I said, how much can I?
This is the same matter of the people in detention, that some of them have sicknesses.
Yes, Mr.
It has
Speaker.
never been responded to.
They haven't responded to it. And even when the presiding officer directed the committee of parliament to handle that, nothing else.
Okay.
And I felt this is dehumanizing enough. Mr. Speaker, sir, would we be procedurally right for us really to look on as speaker's directives are not really effected or implemented, Mr. Speaker?
No, but as parliament, we are really proceeding well. But those who choose to ignore or implement rather too slowly guidance that has been given by the presiding officer is not correct. Dr. Chris Barimunsi, you spoke on this matter last time, didn't you? Was it you or it was the Minister of Internal Affairs? It was General Muhozi? No, it was a commitment to this house, but I also referred the matter because that was the third time it was coming. And this is the fourth time it is coming. Can I have a direct commitment, Right Honorable, that this matter will not come back to the house? And it comes back to the house, it's only to say it has been handled, because it has been here 4 times. It's frustrating.
Right Honorable Speaker. Most obliged.
So can we, no, I will personally follow up this matter now with the officers. I'll personally follow up. You can, you come tomorrow, Honorable, come tomorrow about 10 o'clock my
In your
office.
office,
Yeah?
Mr.
Yes,
Speaker.
yes.
Much appreciated,
And
Mr. Speaker.
we do this jointly.
And this country can give the people in prison a Christmas gift by releasing the prisoners unconditionally. We'll be happy as a country. I think this is for the good and stability and peace.
No,
of our
that is
country.
a new
Thank you.
one. That's a new one. I'm sure. Thank you very much. Clarification from who? You don't, I told you, your motion is very well received. Part of it is already being discussed. I am deferring the presentation to Tuesday to allow us time to check all these things that people say they are doing. The payments, the issue of dealing with the issue of that thing that they should leave hospitals, the vacation thing, all those will be handled tomorrow, and I'm monitoring it. So I have deferred your motion to Tuesday to give us time to examine all these other things. See, if we are on course, then we may not need this motion. But if we are not, then we have a full debate on the motion on Tuesday. But what is not clear, Honorable? I have been very clear, I thought. You know, you end up demobilizing people who are doing their best to help solve the situation. Can we proceed to the next item?
Item number 4, motion for resolution of Parliament urging government to strengthen efforts for promoting road safety in Uganda.
Is Honorable Alex here? Oh, is it you presenting it? David, please. I'm being advised that this motion was presented. What was left is debate. I'm sure the question was also proposed for debate. And just to remind you, I propose the question again. The question is that the Parliament by resolution should urge government to strengthen efforts for promoting road safety in Uganda. That is the motion for your debate, and debate starts now. And I'll start with the Honorable of Kayumu County in Ikumi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. For the record, I'm Paul Simon Peter Kwalnga, the Member of Parliament for Kanyum County in Kumi District, also known as the People's Guardian. Now, Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank the move of this motion for the very fact that in my own constituency, ever since the new tarmac road was put, that begins from Tirinyi through Palisa, through up to Kumi, we have so far lost about 22 people. And so that really, whereas we are now talking about life and development, how to balance the two. I really would request if government should be able to put in place safety measures, even after putting such a very expensive road, they could put safety measures, especially towards the trading centers and the junctions. And why I really support this motion is to emphasize the fact that Whereas we put in place good roads, we should also be mindful of the users of this road. How safe are they? Especially those highways that are passing through rural areas where people, this is their first time to see such a marvelous development coming to place. So we should really do a lot of sensitization and awareness. There should be strengthening of the department within the Ministry of Works that is concerned with the public awareness to educate people on road safety. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Karabanga, you are the second of the motion. You cannot speak to it again. Honorable, is that Mwangi? No, that man there. Mukono South. Yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. For record purpose, I'm Kayondo Fred, Mukono South constituency. Honorable Speaker, when we talk about road safety, the government is so much inclined in emphasizing the penalties given to the road users. It is so much inclined in emphasizing how to fine the law breakers. But the government has not put into place what is causing the etiology of the law, of what is breaking the etiology of the traffic misuse. Honorable Speaker.
What was the word again?
Etiology is the cause. What
okay.
causes people to break the traffic rules? That is the cause. So now it has become a cascade of issues that when we come to Parliament here, we are talking about traffic misuse and what have you. Honorable Speaker, yesterday, I was talking about Ginger Road here. Honorable Speaker, it takes you 5 hours from Kampala to Ginger. It takes somebody 2 hours from Soroti. It takes somebody 1 hour from Soroti to Mukono. It takes you 4 hours from Mukono to Kampala. That prompts our drivers to break the traffic rules. How I wish the government can also be inclined in reducing what is tempting these people to break the traffic rules. Honorable Speaker, look at the roads that are being constructed. They are of low quality. For example, they've just constructed my road in Mukono South that connects to Ginger. It is not even a year, but it is developing potholes, Honorable Speaker. The trading centers are not having humps. At the end of the day, we are having people losing their lives. But what the government is doing, it is strengthening the penalties it is giving to the end users. But it is not putting an end to what is stopping these people from breaking the traffic rules. I beg to submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Ebualo Jonathan from Soroti West Division. Mr. Speaker, a fortnight ago, we lost 8 people in one night. And this was caused by the recklessness by the border borders. I think also, as we are looking at the road safety in Uganda, we also need to come with a law to regulate the road users, especially the border borders. Today in Uganda, anyone can go and buy a motorcycle in the afternoon at 2 p.m. At 3 p.m. is a border border. And I think it is only in Uganda here that we don't have a government driving school or a government riding school. Here, I think government should come with a law to regulate the road users, especially the border borders. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable, is that Honorable Sebikale?
Thank you, Honorable Right Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Right Speaker. Mine is about how these roads are constructed, because they would be with handy washing facilities from a distance to a distance. And this one can prevent even diseases and infections But you find a road from Nansana up to Hoima, there is no convenient place. And people have things they are eating in those vehicles. There are no good places to ease themselves. So I think when they are being constructed, these convenient places should be inclusive. 2, I have ever gone to Rwanda, and those road reserves are protected and are reserved for environment protection. They plant trees, they put even those grasses, good grasses, so that people can at least rest when there is sunshine and everything. But our roads are very expensive without those components where we can get those services that are good. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kazini.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. And I want to thank the chairperson of the committee and the minister for the motion. However, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the government for the roads in the Monyoro sub-region, especially in Chikube. However, there is an important road that government compensated people with the view of working on it, and that is Kawoya Kituti Road. This road is important in nature that it is the only road that you can use to access the oil wells in Kingfisher and also to transport food to the refugees. As I talk now, the road is impassable. Even if you go there now, you find so many trucks parking, they don't have access. And yesterday, we were in our roads committee in our district in Chikube. I tried to request the station engineer, Yondra, at least to do the spot grading. But the station engineer said that he has no capacity. Honorable Minister, you are here and the chairperson of the committee. May I therefore request that you update us and also give us a solution to that road, I thank you.
Are you still debating the motion?
I'm not, but I wanted to give the information to the minister such that we can be helped. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I wish to support this motion as well with a small deferment, especially on the prayers. One of the prayers is majorly emphasizing on the construction of humps along the roads. But Right Honorable Speaker, though that one is one way of deterring these accidents, I think over time the issue has been, the class of our drivers. I request that the issue of the highway code must really be instilled among all road users. The level of discipline along our roads is really questionable. Then you ask the question that, are people who are using these roads qualified enough to use them? So in addition to the prayers that the mover raised, I think I would like to add that the issue of the highway code must be brought back. I remember when we were at school, we used to sing this in the back of our hands, but I don't think this is anymore. And you can easily see it as you drive along the road. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with my colleague from Mukono South. Mukono South, I think, the issue of our roads. Again, rightly as he put it, it takes actually exactly 2.5 hours using Kirinyi Road and the new Palisa Road for you to drive from Soroti to Mukono. And another 3 hours or 4, if you're lucky, to get from Mukono to Kampala, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, it's not because of other roads, but I think really as leaders and particularly the ministry, if you look at the exit alone, let me use Mukono as an example. If you use Mukono as an exit, there are other auxiliary roads actually that could be worked on, such that the traffic is decongested out of Mukono to Kampala. Thirdly, Right Honorable Speaker, I don't know if colleagues, you have witnessed it recently along the roads. I don't know why the police are making these roadblocks with very heavy spikes. Sometimes you just drive in and you find that a roadblock has been instituted here, and you can easily get yourself onto the spikes. Mabira, for example, you question, other cars come through, but the very important truck drivers who drive this economy are the ones who suffer in this roadblocks, causing unnecessary congestion. I witnessed a number of accidents caused by unnecessary, ungazetted police roadblocks that end up causing accidents. Among other measures, I think this is highly questionable. And lastly, right, Speaker, and I'm happy the Honorable Minister is here. We have a very beautiful road that we have, which has been developed. I think maybe it will be launched soon, the Northern Bypass. But exit, you find very nice traffic flowing on the Northern Bypass, but exit out of the Northern Bypass, you end up into potholes. You end up into Panya roads. What are we doing? And I want to quote Right Honorable Speaker when you said once that, sometimes you really wonder if there are people thinking within this government. I want to repeat that, Right Honorable Speaker, because we cannot do such a great job, and as we exit out of this beautiful road, you have nowhere to go. Why invest all this in this? I think with that small contribution, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the contributor of this motion and really pray that we take our time, especially as leaders. We just drive by and sleep over this. It's quite important that we follow up, and I want again to thank the move of this motion for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
But Honorable, when you say you wonder whether the government is awake or sleeping, remember this institution is part of government. And so we like to not be part of this communication that you have just made, because we certainly are not sleeping as Parliament. And if I had the powers, I would have asked you to amend to be specific about who you are referring to, because certainly they cannot include Parliament. Parliament is not sleeping, and yet Parliament is part of government. Would you like to adjust your statement to reflect your true intentions of what you really want to say? Or just take out the whole statement altogether? And
thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I think I wasn't clear enough, and probably for that reason, let me take away that particular statement out of my submission.
Thank you very much.
You.
Those remarks don't occupy part of the record. Kapalabyong.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to just make 3 comments. One has to do with the whole question of road standards. Where I come from, I stay in Kampala here in Rubaga. We got a motorist being killed by border borders. The roads are very narrow, and you find that pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists are sharing the same narrow road. On the sidewalks, you find people have put all kinds of market produce and there is nowhere anyone can pass. So I want to request that let us have a standard of road construction, both in the rural areas and in the urban areas. Going to the rural areas, Honorable Speaker, in Kapalabyong, 3/4 of the district becomes unavailable when the rains come. Now, I do not know how they build those roads, but once the water comes, rains come, they wash away all the local roads, and we have to basically use almost just 1/3 of the road system. So I want to request that the ministry and government creates a uniform standard of road construction across the country, whether it is in the villages, in rural areas, or in the city, so that we can be able to have accessibility and good use of our roads. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bukoto.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, road safety is made for the vehicle operator, who is the driver. It is made for the passengers, and then the pedestrians. Right Honorable Speaker, road safety starts with driver behavior. Before the roads, before the designs, before all this is done, it starts with the behavior of the driver. The drinking and driving causes the most accidents. Not wearing seat belts overspeeding, not keeping a safe distance when driving, distraction. People are driving and they're on phone, they are discussing, they are looking behind and discussing with the passengers. Some people are sick, you don't feel well, but you continue to drive. This is where everything starts. When we go to the design or to the engineers, there are a lot of designs that do not take care of other road users, the people we call the non-motorized transport. We are looking at cyclists, we are looking at pedestrians. Pedestrians don't know that if the traffic rule is vehicles keep left, then you're supposed to walk on the right, such that you don't keep walking as you look back to see whether you're going to be knocked. So these are not catered for. Then you look at the road designs. The roads have a lot of black spots. There are places on a road where most accidents are. You look at Masaka Road, they will always tell you, Ruela, Ruela. They will always tell you Mabida. There are those places that have black spots, and they have been named over time. There are some potholes that are in Mabida, somewhere along towards the police station in Mabida. They never go away, and people keep dying in the same spot. And these places are not repaired. So the traffic designs are also, all the road designs are also supposed to be, looked into. Then we go down and look at the roads in the villages. These roads are not maintained in time. You find the bushes closing in and you have to hoot every single corner you're turning, such that the person that is the other side of the corner can hear you come. And there are very many people dying. We are losing up to around almost 2,000 people in road accidents. Almost 2,000 per year are dying of road accidents. So it is important that we increase, as we look at road safety, we look at it holistically and then take care of the different aspects one by one. We cater for the driver, we cater for the passengers, and then we shall cater for the pedestrians. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. For record purpose, I'm Kabuye Frank, the MP for Kasanda South. I stand to debate on the motion urging government to take up the responsibility to strengthen the safety about the roads. Right Honorable Speaker, I'll speak first about the village and the district roads, for example, in Kasanda district. Kasanda is one of the districts that were newly created in 2017, but up to now we lack a road unit. And we have been hiring from Mubende, Mitiana, and other neighboring districts, and now it has taken like a full year without the neighbors collaborating to assist us with at least a road unit to do the simple maintenance that can be done on these roads. We are losing a lot of people's lives due to the accidents that occur because some of the roads are impassable. For example, if you're going to the district headquarters, you have to use the longest route that is available, that is about 13 kilometers, yet there was a short route of 7 to 5 kilometers to the district headquarters. We are finding people from some of the highlands, because we have areas that are close to the lake. We have a lake, Lake Wamala, but they have been filled with water, and we have called upon, we have written to the Ministry of Works and Transport to come and help. Ladies are giving birth on the small boats because the roads are no longer passable by the motorcycles or the vehicles. Ladies are giving birth on the small boats that are being driven or by sticks, not even the sailing sticks, but just sticks going on, pointing in the ground and pulling the boat to move forward. And this is the challenge we are facing. And another thing, at least when we talk about the roads in Uganda, we have to look at the quality and the size of these roads. When you look at the Mitiana Mubende Highway, it was worked on, but it stopped in Mitiana town as you're entering Mitiana town. They have started on working on it to see that at least it can be put to a better quality. But if you look at the size of it, it can only afford 2 small vehicles to pass through it if they are moving at a recommended speed of the highway. So we are urging government to look at the size and
widening at least to see that they can maximize the road reserve or the area that was marked for the road to be passing through, so that we can try to reduce on the number of accidents and the number of lives that are being lost. In Narutung sub-county, where I come from, just in like 2 weeks, we've lost like 5 people due to road accidents, where even one of the people I competed with in the election was nearly losing his life due to an accident that claimed 5 people, and he survived alone. So I beg that government wakes up and the ministry to see that at least the quality of the roads we work on and we build in these areas be very good and wide enough. Thank
Honorable Minister, is it true that you have roads that can only accommodate 2 small cars to pass at the same? Is that true? Are you using bicycles to do measurements? Or?
Right, Honorable Speaker, first of all, the NRM government is awake all the time. That's why we have been around and will continue to be around for some time. What makes us to be around, sir, is our commitment to service delivery. We are judged by
You are
the
dealing with
people.
my question only for now. The
road is excellent. The Mitiana, Mubende had deteriorated, but we'll put a contractor there. Is going to work to very international standards that we have specified to him. And we will be supervising to ensure that what happens. I am not going to tell you that this is the way, but there are international standards that are acceptable to kind of all the roads, including Mitiana. And that is what is happening.
So you are confirming that 2 small cars only?
Not at all.
Not
it's a critical road. It's a critical road, Mr. Speaker. It's a critical road, Mr. Speaker, and it can never be just for 2 cars. No.
It's on the record. That's why I wanted to correct the record.
Mr. Speaker, the road is not just meant for 2 cars. It is a good road. We are doing
Not just
everything
2
possible.
cars, 2 small cars.
And not 2 small cars. That's not correct. That's not correct, Mr. Speaker.
Aru?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Road safety. The roads in Uganda always have got a very good standard, but due to corruption, the people who construct the roads make them become narrower. And this is the truth. I know recently the president says the corrupt people in Uganda are good people because they steal and put it back into the country. But I want to say that the poverty in Uganda today comes because of the bad roads. During the time when I was doing campaign, I went to one of the villages using the boat because there was no bridge to cross to that area. The gentleman we found across had 62 sacks of beans to be sold, but he could not pass because you cannot carry even 5 sacks in the boats. I have a proposal, especially in my district of Pade, that if we want to reduce poverty in these districts and in the villages, soon we are going to open up schools. We better concentrate on building bridges so that these local people can walk on foot and at least manage to cross the bridge to another area. My main proposal is that the money that you send to the districts for the district roads, sub-county roads, should be mostly concentrated on putting the bridges to allow the people to pass. Even if they will walk in the bushes, so long as they can cross the bridges, that will be very important. You can roll your bicycle, you can go with your boda, cross the bridge, and then follow the other path. Because we fear that when the schools open, many children will fail to cross to the schools beyond their boundaries. Many of them will lose their lives in the rivers. Thank you.
Thank you. Without Buganga easy. Eric Busana, Honorable.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this motion, specifically looking at life on the road. Mr. Speaker, I just want to interest the government on two things. And number one is the quality of implementation. We have the Traffic and Road Safety Act in place. We have the road safety policy in place. What has gone wrong, Mr. Minister, in implementation of these things? Isn't there an opportunity where you would enforce or design a mechanism of having minimum enforcement standards? Minimum enforcement standards would help us implement all these good policies and laws that help us in our transportation system. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, we have a very big challenge. Honourable members have commented on rural roads. There's a very big challenge with the districts, and this specifically with the road fund. The quality of our roads, especially those that are supposed to be managed by the districts, the money is too little, and then the kilometers are increasing every year because there are new roads that are being created in these districts. And therefore, the roads are not all that good. Therefore, accidents are supposed to be there almost every day. Is there a provision as government where you would see how to support these districts, and then we can have a better roads and better transport system? Lastly is on the quality. I just want to emphasize the quality of roadworks and the designs. I have a road from Chenjojo, Kagadi, Hoima, Masindi, you know it. That road is causing a lot of accidents. It was on design and build basis. There are many designs that were created, and we have very many spots where we are receiving a lot of accidents. Just last month, we lost about 10 people. On the same spot, we have reported this matter, and it is not being worked out. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Kotido.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also take this opportunity to thank the mover of this motion of road safety in the country. Indeed, road safety is a great concern to all of us, because according to the police report, it's estimated that about 3,500 people lose their lives on these roads of ours of Uganda. And therefore, it is very important for government to strengthen the effort to save the lives of the Ugandans. Honorable Speaker, continuous public awareness should be done to the people of Uganda, because there's a time when we had the same crisis and there were seatbelts instituted in our cars, but within a short time, people relaxed and never used these seatbelts. So it is important that there's continuous sensitization of our communities on the use of these seatbelts. The other is that Uganda has got good policies and regulations in our region, but the challenge is that there is no enforcement, or there's still no enforcement of these regulations. For example, like the border borders. Border borders are meant to have helmets together with their passengers, but you find there's a border with 4 other people on this motorcycle. So you find there's a need for these borders to be regulated. If we went to Jinja Road, you can only see a swamp of border. And you find these borders are the ones who cause these accidents. Even if we went to Mulago National Referral Hospital, many of the casualties are by the border. So there's need for government to regulate the border industry so that they can have elements and only one passenger with the element. What is that Rwanda can do differently better than Uganda? I have gone to Rwanda, you find a border with an element and one passenger with the element. And when they reach the traffic lights, they wait. But in Uganda, you find when you are at the traffic lights, the borders have the right of wait, they don't wait. So there's need to regulate the border. Then the other is the use of the arms. I come from Kochido municipality. There's a road which is a black spot and about 10 people have been killed because of the speedy drivers. We have given this information to the UNRWA, but to our dismay, they have refused to put the arms. I think government should make sure that where there's a black spot, there should be need of the arms so that the drivers are able to reduce their speed when they get to these areas. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I am Ogwari Polika from Magule County. Right Honorable Speaker, as I support the motion strongly, but honorable members, we need to look at the root cause of these problems on the road. To me, on my own observation, one of it should be a procurement system of the government right from up the districts. I can tell you one example. That when you look at some roads, really like one of the honorable said, they don't last even for 2 years. A lot of money is spent, less than 2 years, potholes all over. If I can tell you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, in Palisa district, the only tarmac we have on the road is what we have called it the main street. It was put before I was born. I'm now 40 years old. It was put when we booked the district, before even we went to the rural district. But the tarmac, as we talk, it's only at the sides that has tried to go off, but in the middle, still intact. Now, what causes all this kind of arrangement in the way that the procurement of the government still selects the same poor contractors that have done a poor job in a certain place, are awarding them more contracts. So this is one of the problems that we have. Number two, I don't know whether in the system, road system, that we have the department that observes the roads. If I can tell you one of the examples, they advertise very nicely. I stand in Boyogerere, very nicely. Kira roads are going to be renovated. They are going to fill all the potholes. Such a time, please be aware if you are inconvenienced, we are sorry. We listen. But to our surprise, I don't know whether other places or from Boyogerere up to Namgongo, after 1 week of the announcements, it was Maram being put. Now the Maram was immediately rains, it's washed off. Now, one of the passengers that was carried by borders, those who know between Tazan and the junction of UNBS, lost all the 2 legs. Why? The vehicle was trying to dodge the pothole. The truck was on the other side. The border also wanted to go. So they squeezed the man's legs when he tried to jump off from the border. So when you look at the potholes in I can put the road I always use, that is in Jinja Road, the Mavira Forest. We have potholes everywhere, sharp potholes. In a way that if you are driving at night, you may not manage to identify that the pothole is there. You hit the pothole, flat tire. At the end of the day, what happens? You are there. That's why we see most of the accidents happening in Mavira Forest. So, Right Honorable Speaker, we need a proper maintenance of the roads, even if they are narrow, let them be maintained. Number two, we need a quality roads to be put so that we take at least 40 years, like the one I've given an example in Palisa, as taken in town. One of the problems that is there, the driving schools. Right Honorable Speaker, to be honest to you, there are people, these driving schools, they only teach you how to direct the vehicle. They don't teach you how to read the signposts.
road safety light signposts. They don't. At the end of the day, someone has gotten a permit. After getting the permit, but he cannot read the signpost, the safety signpost. Some of the people practice in their own vehicle, then pay 300, 400 to get the permit. What has this person learned? Only to direct the vehicle. So I concur by one of the honorables that mentioned that needs the government to come in and try to regulate these other driving schools. Otherwise, the same to the border. Somebody goes, is riding the motorbike, no permit. If he has the permit, it's not a permit that he got genuinely. If you looked at it in the way that here in Nakuru, where they test the drivers, compared with the permit offices, how many do they correspond? Nothing. Few people go for test. Many people get driving permits this way. How did they get it? So, Right Honorable Speaker, I kindly request with those few, if the government can come in and look into it, we shall be grateful. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Alavu Kazo. Is that Koboko? Huh? This Aringa, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And honorable colleagues, I rise to support the motion. But Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, as we urge government, I think we need also to advocate for a mindset change and attitude of the road users. And oh yes, government has a role to sensitize people, but as citizens, we must accept that we have a responsibility. A responsibility to know that when you enter your vehicle, you must put on a safety belt. And we stop baptizing it a seat belt. It's not supposed to tie the seat. It is supposed to be a safety belt to protect you. But because we are running away from the responsibility, we continue to call it a seat belt and put it on when we get closer to police and get it off when we get off police. So I think it is the responsibility of us as citizens to appreciate the things that we need to change. Oh yes, government has issues that it has to address, like the regulation of the border industry. Right Honorable Speaker, when I was working in Mulago, there used to be a ward called the border ward. And this would admit casualties who are affected, who are border victims. And I can tell you, if someone gets a spine damage, the little time they'll spend on admission is a minimum of 1 year. And these are in the age of 1735, the most productive age of this country. So I think it is very important, Right Honorable Speaker, that we put up in place measures to regulate border without fear or favor or without fear of any contradiction, because they have caused a lot of mayhem on the road. Understanding that it is an industry that is employing many young people, but it is also an industry that has maimed and caused harm to many young people. The other issue, Right Honorable Speaker, is the issue of corruption. As a country, Right Honorable Speaker, we need to see how we minimize the human contact during enforcement. Right Honorable Speaker, you will bear with me witness, even colleagues, at every point on this road, there are policemen. But every 5 hours, you hear an accident caused by a vehicle in poor mechanical condition. And you're wondering, where did they pass? When at every point of the road, there is police. And Right Honorable Speaker, this goes a long way to even affect our health care. Like now we are going for Christmas. You hear a lot of accidents, and of course people reach in facilities and overstretch them, because these facilities, when they are planning, they do not plan to the extent of 20 accidents on the road. But when it happens, all these people are put in our healthcare system, and the stretch goes on the facility, the medicines get exhausted instantly, and there's total stock out of them. It is a long challenge that we need to address comprehensively as a country. And Right Honorable Speaker, what's wrong if we enforce and make sure that all vehicles that carry passengers have insurance, that when your vehicle causes an accident, then the people affected can be paid for. The facility, whether government or public, will treat the people therein, and they will invoice you as a company or as the owner of the vehicle. Why must we leave the whole burden? For you, you buy a vehicle, you don't service it, put it on the road, it kills people, and the burden is passed on to government. I think the issues, Right Honourable Speaker, we need to address. Of course, for us who come from the country constituencies, Right Honourable Speaker, it is becoming even more risky because our roads are becoming completely impassable. They gave us districts, they did not give us equipment. Now the roads are, they are real, how do I call them? Because they're beyond potholes, Right Honourable Speaker. And I can assure you, the same number of borders you see are the same in the villages. So we have a lot of accidents. So I would want to appeal through you, Right Honourable Speaker, that the concerned parties considers giving road equipment to new districts so that we are able to rehabilitate these roads and save the lives of the people that send us to represent them. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much. I will have Ringa, Kapir, and Jumani East.
Right Honourable Speaker, my concern, a member of Parliament for Ringa County, yes. My concern is about the dangerous mechanical conditions of vehicles on these roads. You'll find that a driver drives a vehicle which is not in good condition, and in this vehicle also passengers overloaded. A vehicle which is supposed to carry about 14 people, you'll find a driver carrying more than 18 people in this vehicle. So this one causes accident in the sense that you will find out because of the overload, attack themselves. The driver, they squeeze themselves with the passengers on the seat where they're supposed to sit. I've ever witnessed this one. And on those motorcycles, you'll find that a motorcycle rider carrying more than 4 people on a motorcycle. How can we control this? So those traffic officers that are responsible on those roads, I'm really appealing to them in order to see such circumstances on roads. And the second thing is also our roads, like I come from, where a person who starts from P1 up to P7, when this person does not go in another place, in another district, will not know what tarmac is. Because there is no total tarmac in my district. The roads are so bad during rainy season. You will find that passing through those roads is really unbearable. The vehicles, they continue to cause accidents because of those bad roads. It is a pleasure to some honorable members here when they were talking here saying that in their districts, roads have been tarmac and drivers are now overspeeding. But that one does not happen to my district. Some bridges, they are taking long to complete them. Like in one of my districts, there is one of the bridges called the Jure. This bridge has taken over 3 years to complete it. You will find that the option for to pass through that bridge is so meager. Vehicles have ever been failing there because they are overloaded, and some of the vehicles, they cannot manage passing the option that is created there. Because people want to proceed for business, the only option that they have to use is that one there. So I'm appealing to UNRWA, at least to have some time limit. Whenever they are trying to construct a bridge, at least there has to be a time limit where that bridge is supposed to be completed. Thank you very much. I beg submit.
Thank you very much. I'd already picked the members to speak. I'll keep rotating until we finish everybody. Yes, Kapir.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
For record, I'm called Dr. Isamat Abraham, Member of Parliament for Kapiri County in Ngora District, Teso Sub-Region. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the mover of the motion and also to bring to the attention of this House, more so when the Minister of State for Works is in the House. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister for Works is a regular user of Soroti Road, that is from Kampala to Soroti, via Ngora, where I come from. Between Kumi and Soroti, there is a town council called Mukura, which most people say Mokola. And immediately after that town council, there is another trading center called Koloi. The two centers, that is the town council and Koloi, are busy centers. The business community actually do business on daily basis. Right Honorable Speaker, from 2000 to date, over 20 people have actually been injured on that road. Some of them have even died, and some have actually gotten permanently deformed. In the Mukura Town Council, there is no hump at all. In the Cologne Trading Center, there is no hump. I'm sure, even including the Honorable Minister, when he's passing there, it is very difficult for anyone who's using that road even to reduce the speed. And yet those two centers are busy.
What about the railway crossing signs? They don't respect them?
There are even no signposts to indicate that that is a trading center or a town. Because of that, accidents have become very common in those two places. My prayer is, through you, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to urge government, for the sake of those towns and trading centers which are busy, may it be a policy of government that humps are erected in those centers. I've observed in some centers that they are, but I wonder why it is actually done selectively. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
No, you are not moving another motion. We already have a motion. You are debating a motion already. So please stop making your own motion because we already have the motion. You are just supporting the motion.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Who was the other one?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
And the mover of the motion.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, I have two issues to raise as I support this motion. Right Honorable Speaker, as we ask government to protect the roads or put measures on roads, one of the causes of road accident is noise pollution, Right Honorable Speaker. Along the roads, especially in upcoming trading centers, whereby you realized there are some machines which are erected along the roads, especially the grinding machines. And these machines, while working, the competition between movable object and the machine cannot be assessed by the members or the pedestrians. In my area, I have 2 or 3 trading centers where the rate of accident, Honorable Speaker, is very high because there are so many machines along the routes, and when these machines are working, the pedestrians are unable to listen to the moving objects, which causes accident. And therefore, if the ministry can have a measure to regulate operation of machines along the roads, we shall be very happy, Right Honorable Speaker. Two, we have issues to do with the nature of Maram, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm not an engineer by profession, Right Honorable Speaker. But when you go to some of our roads, you find what we call Maram is a muddy object, which when it rains, the vehicle cannot pass by. But when we ask the engineers on the nature of the Maram to be pushed on the roads, they say this is a good Maram. And in my lame eyes here, when I saw a good Maram is red in color and it has absorbable nature of the rains, then they say that is not a Maram. This is a tested Maram from the laboratory. And now the competition comes between me, who is not an engineer, and an engineer. And then to determine who is right in between me and the engineer becomes a problem, Right Honorable Speaker. Therefore, if possible, as leaders of our people, we need to understand which Maram is to be put on the road. So that when we go to our areas, we shall tell our community that this is the right Maram, but yes, sometimes it has issues. But this is the right Maram. So I'll be able to tell them. Right Honorable Speaker, thirdly, we also have issues to do with the installation of culverts along the road. There are two categories or many categories of establishing culverts on the roads. There are some culverts which are raised up, and there are some culverts to us who are not an engineer, which we prefer to be in good standards. But when you reach a situation where the culvert is raised up, when you go at a speed which you could not know whether there is that nature of the culvert at that area, you may find yourself off-road with a vehicle, even motorcycle. Therefore, also, as we urge the government to safely protect our road, Right Honorable Speaker, we also request for a standard measure of culverts which need to be installed along the road, Right Honorable Speaker. Thirdly, it is a request, Right Honorable Speaker. I have one river in my constituency of Ajuman East, which is called Asia River, along the road from Ajuman to Amoro. In this river, we have lost so many lives of our people who are going to market, who are going to so many places because of the steepness of the area of the river. And when there are mechanized work going on, we always request UNIRA that can we reduce on the steepness of the area. But we never got any good answer, Right Honorable Speaker. My request is if Honorable Minister can look into that, I'll be so grateful. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I was wondering whether the other member of Ajumani County might agree with you or might not agree with you. The other member from Ajumani County, do you agree or? Well, now is the deputy premier, so I think that takes precedence. So we will not talk about Ajumani issues for now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I, first of all, want to thank my colleague who, for the first time in the miracle, actually, first time to meet him talking without arrangement. But when I came in, I found on the paper, in the house, there is a paper on roads. And indeed, this road issue, we talked about it for many years ago, and still we are talking about it. And we will continue talking about it. Even the future members of Parliament will continue talking about it because the road will ever be there. Therefore, it is important that this type of road, I think should be clearly done. And the Minister of Works, I'm sure he's here, and he has
Microphone.
the Minister of Works, with whom I worked for many years, is a very capable man, and I'm sure he will handle this issue properly. I therefore have nothing really to add to this topic, which I enjoy very much anyway. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I'll cross this side. I'll have Bukonjo West, Tochi, and Ipite.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I want to appreciate the mover of the motion and also the seconders. Mr. Speaker, sir, all lives matter. It's painful for a country even to lose one life. And I've been struggling to figure out how our nation can sit quietly when our fellow citizens continue to perish on the road. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I really want to thank you for giving this very important motion space on the order paper. I struggle with this, Mr. Speaker, that every time a motorist runs over a citizen, all we got to hear is how much does a casket cost? How much are you going to need to do a funeral? And for the bereaved family, especially for the accident victim, all they get is $2 million and then a casket. Now, when you aggregate $2 million in a casket, maybe that comes to around $3 million. And I wonder, is that the price that as a nation we have attached to human life? Mr. Speaker, sir, it grieves my spirit. And every time, unfortunately, when I drive to my community, I keep praying that I hope I won't find somebody's daughter whose only crime maybe is to have a father that doesn't have a car to take him or drop her to school. I find dead bodies of school kids run over, and sometimes the motorists just continue on. This must stop, Mr. Speaker, sir. And I will encourage the mover that it's time that we started attaching value and real value to human life. That if you're a reckless driver, will put a high price to check your recklessness. We can't allow citizens to continue losing their lives just because we're putting some tragic culture in it, that all you'll be charged is a cost of a casket and then $2 million, and you continue on. You'll have your payment. It happens nowhere. Mr. Speaker, sir, and a lot of us here know that every time you get in, you run even a traffic light, the red light, as they call it in other countries. Depending on the state where you drive and where that occurred, you'll have your permit withdrawn, minimum 6 months. just running a red light. And by the way, as a country, I don't know whether we have ever sat down to ask ourselves where some of these countries, especially in Europe and the United States, you can have your 10 years, 20 years, 30 years without ever hearing of a road accident or victim. Why? Because of the price that they are touched. That the moment you run over a citizen, an American citizen, the minimum you can spend in an American jail is 40 years. 40 years. And that's why every American driver, you have to be very careful. Because you're gonna choose whether you're gonna knock somebody recklessly, and then you have your 40 years in prison. And you will spend literally decades in that country without ever hearing a car accident. Mr. Speaker, sir, one day, and I will ask my brother-in-law, Honorable Ochero, just go to the post office. Post office, there is a big, large zebra crossing. If you don't want to, if you're fed up with the continent, with the African continent, just go, I dare you, go try cross the zebra crossing. We are the only city, the only country that we don't respect, that put no attention to even zebra crossing. Now, if I can't feel safe at a zebra crossing joint, where else can I feel safe? Even just right here, as you're driving to work, MPs that work the other side, Mr. Speaker, sir, literally live at the mercy or cross at the mercies of God. There's a zebra crossing, but nobody observes it. I think it is time for us to say enough of this. Now, very lastly, the people that cause accidents, Mr. Speaker, sir, are right seated right in front here, just right in front here. No, first get my point, my honorable sister, please. Our Constitution is very clear. Hear my point.
Point of order.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. With due respect to my brother-in-law, we are seated here.
Who is your brother-in-law?
Honorable Katusave is my brother-in-law.
No, because the Hansard people don't know that, so we need the record.
With due respect to him, Right Honorable Speaker, we are seated here on the front row, very obedient Ugandans. We have never caused accidents. We have never killed people. Is he in order to make wild allegations that the people who cause accidents are seated just here? Is he in order, Right Honorable?
Honorable members, one of the standard practice and obligations of members of parliament is to keep the integrity of the House and respect all members. So any statement that suggests anything to the contrary would be against our rules. So would you like to withdraw?
Speaker, sir, you know, the moment.
Would you like to withdraw that statement, sir?
Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, she just got it without qualification. I'm just talking about the Constitution is very clear on who is supposed to have a right of way. Mr. Speaker, you've seen this. People driving the opposite direction, you've seen it all over the place.
So they must drive on one direction, in one direction, all of them?
He's supposed to take their direction. And Mr. Speaker, sir, because he's a minister, she or he is driving the opposite direction. And who is the victim? An innocent border rider. I'm not saying that my honorable sisters and my honorable brothers knock people on purpose. No, I'm talking about a misuse or abuse of road. Yeah, so please, in that context. But yeah, but putting my thing very clear, Mr. Speaker, sir.
So in that context, I cannot rule him out of order.
Much appreciated, Mr. Speaker. And you know how careful I am that every time I say a word, it's a word of wisdom. Because I treat everybody with honor, dignity, and respect that they deserve. Now, Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much, but my last submission is crystal clear.
Thank you, Honorable.
Yes.
We need to share the time.
Yes, my last submission, Mr. Speaker. I'm saying the Constitution is very clear on who you support have a right of way. My honorable brothers and my honorable sisters, can you wait for your time? If you're not a prime minister, you're not the Speaker of Parliament or Deputy Speaker of Parliament or your president, please wait for your time. Until you have a right of way according to our Constitution, please observe the traffic rules, because nobody is above the law, including you. Mr. President, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is that Gulu City? But no, maybe some. But I already picked Tochi, sorry. Tochi, and then the UPDF.
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank the mover of the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, for every major infrastructure work to be taken, there are normally components. And we find that there are components of environmental protection. There are also components of community sensitization. And all these components are costed, and they form part of the total contract sum. You find that in most cases during implementation, those who are charged with the responsibility of supervising such work pay little attention in ensuring that those other components are also treated seriously. When a road is being commissioned for construction, they only look at the construction site. Little do they pay attention in ensuring that the environmental component is also worked on, the community through which their areas the road is going to pass through are sensitized. Such are not done. And in the end, when the road is constructed, the usage is normally abused. Right Honorable Speaker, colleagues have talked about training schools, be it for driving or for engineers. We are lucky that we have in Mbale, we have the Elgon Technical School, where most of our engineers are trained from. But surprisingly, these very engineers, having been attained training in a school like Elgon, when they get back, especially at the district levels, the roads which they do, very much aware that when they are designing, they take into consideration things like not bridges as such, but things like culverts. There are standards with which this culvert needs to be made. But if you follow those roads, you'll find that some culverts are made like graves. Such makes it dangerous for the road users. We know very well that in our populations, most of them move with on motorcycles. And when they are riding on these roads and they meet such bottlenecks, like culverts, which are not done properly, what do you expect as a result? The result is accident. So I urge some of us who are charged with the responsibilities of supervising such major works to adhere to the standard as put down and as costed, to make sure that all the components are dealt with to make us avoid some of these unnecessary accidents that are caused by, as a result of poor workmanship, and also as a result as people are not properly sensitized on the major infrastructure works which are being done. Thank you.
Honorable members, all of you are leaders of the road committees in your districts. So the people responsible for making sure that this thing should be done properly, you are one of them. Each one of us is one of such person. We should find time and make sure that works that are being done save lives rather than cause. We have seen all these things, we have caused some changes, but really something has got to be done. And you members of parliament, being members of this road committee, some of you even chair this road committee, I was informed. We need to do something about this as members of parliament. But if we leave it to other people, we take the blame, they take something else. We don't want to take the blame for things that could have been done well. The UPDF?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, Major Dr. Jennifer Alanyo, representing the Uganda People's Defense Forces. I rise to support the motion on road safety in our country. Right Honorable Speaker, you will realize that a lot has been said, good contributions to cut down road carnages. I would like to say that whereas government is working very hard to curb road carnage, some indisciplined Ugandans exist in the community. What am I referring to? Government has put a lot of road signs. For example, you are driving on a road, you see humps ahead, you see bridges ahead, but these some indisciplined Ugandans go ahead and cut off the road signs and sell them in form of scraps. Assuming you are driving on a road for the first time and you are not well aware of all this, imagine what happens to you. Now, if government keeps doing this and we have these ill-mannered Ugandans in the community, still government has to think more by probably putting concrete road signs or poles in order to curb this kind of ill-mannered people in the community. It is really difficult, but not impossible. When you look at road signs, there are zebra crossings. I think Uganda is one country where I know there is no sign of zebra crossing for people with disability. If you are to cross from a zebra crossing point, first of all, what does zebra crossing mean? It means a pedestrian crossing or somebody waiting to cross the road. But you must be fast enough in our country in order to run, in order to cross the road. People, those motorists don't really respect road crossers. When you are crossing a road, you need to run. Nobody cares about you. And it is worse with the people who have disabilities or people who have special inabilities. It is important that my minister takes note so that people with disability are taken care of while crossing the road. Right Honorable Speaker, you will realize that a number of accidents has been caused due to phone usage while driving. In many countries, we have read on papers, on media, China is one of them. And in Uganda, we are not an exception. Many people drive while texting messages, while they are communicating, and they abuse road using. They abuse other road users. And if you follow closely on media, phone usage while driving has overtaken drunken driving. I pray that the government takes this seriously and continues creating awareness and sensitization on phone usage while driving. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I request the government probably to reactivate the use of speed governors. They have it, we have it in vehicles, in buses. What happened to it? What happened to the seat belts? I thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'll have Iki Kapchorwa Kabaramaido. Is that West Budama, Dr. Otala? And where is the other one? Okay, let's take that and then I'll start with the member for Iki.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I raise to second the motion that the subject matter we are discussing this afternoon is a very serious matter which requires a lot of emphasis. As we sit right now here to deliberate on this motion, many Ugandans are perishing out there. And you do realize that there are fatalities in towns, even in villages. It's across the country that accidents are happening. But why is it happening? That would be the question. The question, I happen to be a professional in this industry, because I run a garage. My experience and the time I've spent in that industry is best what I can assure you. When we assess what happens, how this accident happened, and what have you, we do realize that Uganda has a very big problem that most of the people on the road, you see on the road, be it with a border, be it with a vehicle, they don't know driving. Driving per se is a profession which requires a lot of attention and experience. Much as we see people driving, but there is a big problem that our people don't know how to drive. When you're driving, if we give it a test to a few of our drivers, including ourselves here, we do realize that very few would understand the highway code. That this is what is required at this particular place and what have you. Even the machines that we drive in the form of vehicles and what have you, we don't understand them. That's the biggest problem in this country. You see somebody driving, but don't be surprised, out of the blue, the guy knocks you down and you lose your life. Uganda is the third in the world in road carnage. What does this mean? Many Ugandans do perish on the roads, and this is a very big population, more than the COVID, which we waged the war on, and it's disappearing. This is an area which requires a lot of effort, Honorable Minister, but as you are castigating the Minister of Works, for me, as the leader of the Committee of Physical Infrastructure, I realize the problem is not his works. The problem with the Minister of Finance, Right Honorable Speaker. The department charged with the responsibility is given only 2 billion to run the activities of those awareness and so forth. You realize, and that money is also subjected to a budget cut because it's categorized as a consumptive item. A consumptive item subject to a budget cut. When Ugandans are dying, the department is just handicapped. It cannot do much. Therefore, my request to the Minister of Finance and all honorable members, we should put stamp our foot down and realize that we fund this department for them to be able to go down and put awareness to the people of Uganda, or not to die of road carnages. What is happening in the country? It's too much. If we continue at this rate and we are losing valuable resources, people who matter are the people who die. Business people, they die on the road and what have you. There must be an awareness. There must be inspection. There must be, it demands a lot to reduce the rate of accidents on our roads. It demands a lot. So, honorable members, as we deliberate this afternoon about road safety, it's a key area, very critical, that we must all join hands and fight together to see that we reduce the rate at which Ugandans are perishing on our roads. Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg to.
No, Honorable, you said at the beginning that you are a professional in this area. You did not state the profession. For the record, somebody might be reading.
I think I'm one of the Ugandans who have studied a vehicle to advanced stages as a professional.
No, we are talking about the profession. The profession in fact. He's a professional driver, capturer.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise up to support the motion on road safety. I am called Chemtai Phyllis, woman member of parliament, Kapchorwa district. As you all know that Kapchorwa is a highland district. I want to talk of two places where accidents are very common in Kapchorwa. Tewei, which is in Sipi, and also Jakwatit, which is in the lower side of Sipi, the Kasarem side, if you know Kasarem. These two places have registered very many accidents and very serious accidents. In Tawai, we lost very many students of Makerere University one time when a lorry overturned. These students were coming back from Kapchorwa after a mission, Christian mission. Then recently, we also lost students from Kiriandongo, a bus overturned from Tawai Hill. So most of these accidents, I've quoted a few, but there are many others. But most of these accidents occur when the vehicles are coming down the hill, they're rolling down the hill. We have never experienced an accident when the vehicles are climbing the hill, but they're usually accidents occurring when the vehicles are coming down the hill. In both of these points, Tawai and Chekwati, both of them are steep areas. One time in Chekwati, we lost UPDF, so many of them. The lorry crashed because it lost control. All these vehicles lose control as they come down the hill. My prayers, therefore, is that there should be signs on top of the hills. There should be a sign to indicate to the drivers that they are now going down a steep area. They should engage on low gear all the time when they are coming down the hill. But most of these people who get accidents are new to the road. Many of them are new, and they come in the same speed from Kapchorwa, and then they want to roll down the hill with the same speed. So most of the time, they roll over the hill, either they overturn or they fly over the cliffs. So we have had these experiences. And my other prayer is that maybe to the ministry, that area of Tawai, where the vehicles fly over the cliff, we need a protection. Maybe a strong concrete wall, a barrier, sort of. That is me. I don't know, I'm not a technician on the roads, but I think the Ministry of Works should look for a better solution for those areas. So thank you for listening to me. Be blessed.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. For record, I'm Alfred Dakasi, Kabremaido County. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of road quality is a big issue. I was born in Teso. I still see bridges that were built in the 1960s. The mark is there, Teso Development Administration. They exist up to today. It tells me that those people were keen to what they put on the road. My district engineer, when I took him over in terms of critically analyzing the classroom blocks that government built and saw the cracks, he blamed the cement. Yesterday on the news, we were seeing UNBS seizing metallic bars that are manufactured right here and they access the market. Government has done a lot to improve the roads in the last couple of years, but I would like to just, through you, Right Honorable Speaker, to ask the Minister, as you do procurement, please be mindful of the quality of the materials going into the roads, because the roads have taken a lot of our money in the last couple of years. And it would be good if the materials being used can last for a while. In my district, which is my point number 2, is the issue of road maintenance. Right now, we've done quite a number of good roads. But Right Honorable Speaker, the budget for maintaining those roads seems to be low. Like one honorable member mentioned here, the road fund that uses our funds to maintain, for instance, the district roads, has very little money to keep our roads up to date. So the roads are not resilient, not because they were not done well, but because of weather changes. Once they are not maintained, we lose them. As I speak, in my district, the main road that accesses Kabarimaido has been washed by floods in the last 3 years, and it has killed people. As we speak, when the schools open, I actually worry about children crossing from Kabarimaido going to Kalaki, where they have a school nearby. Because as we speak, the water has just submerged that Umabor place for the last 3 years. The same has happened to a peninsula called Murem in Okile sub-county, where because of lack of maintenance, the water just submerged the bridge and submerged the road. Right now, we only access it using boats. And the children are not safe. That peninsula has a primary school, has a health center, and the only access to the peninsula is supposed to be this road. But this road has been like this for the last 3 years. So it's not safe as we speak. And for me, it's the issue of maintenance. If those bridges were being kept well maintained, probably the floods would not have washed them. If you see some of our roads that are well done, like again where I come from, the road from Soroti to Lira, when it was done very well. But as soon as the road was launched, villagers stole the road signs. And because there is no maintenance just on the road signs, people who drive at night cause accidents. So again, when we talk about maintenance, not just the potholes, but every package that goes with a good road would require budgets to maintain it. Right Honorable Speaker, we had an issue of inspecting vehicles in this country. I'll end with this. And I don't know whether it was the company that was secured to do it or what, but we've left it up to now. And I think that if you go, for all of us who have traveled, we see that the countries that are inspecting their vehicles and keeping them in order are reducing accidents by those vehicles. It would be nice if this House revisited that. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Dr. Otala.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I represent West Kudama South, and I arise to support the motion on the floor. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, I want to thank the mover of this motion for coming up with the motion, especially at this time when we are approaching the festive season, when our people tend to get so much excited. And on that regard, I would like to concur with him that the major causes of road traffic accidents in Uganda include overspeeding, drunk driving, and lack of concentration, especially now with the advent of mobile phones. Right Honorable Speaker, so whereas we are urging government to strengthen her efforts in reducing road traffic accidents, I want to also observe that we, the individual road users, must take responsibility ourselves, especially in terms of observing the speed limits in built-up areas, in around school areas, but also in construction zones. It's only in Uganda where I see construction going on in various roads, but the speed limit is not indicated as should be lower than what should be ordinarily the case. The other thing, Right Honorable Speaker, that I would like to observe is that for as long as we continue with the design of our roads, most of which are dual carriage, without providing for islands in the middle to separate traffic from going one way from the other ones, we shall continue to get high cases of road traffic accidents. If you look at our major highway, all the way from Malaba to Katuna border, the volume of traffic on that road is enormous. And of recent, I want to appreciate the efforts of government in coming up with alternative routes that could actually help to decongest this major highway. Like, for example, Njeru, Katosi, Mukono, Njeru, Kayunga, Gayaza. Those are very good alternative roads that could help to decongest the highway. But what is happening? Right Honorable Speaker, I want to observe that the nature of the way those roads were constructed discourages road users. If you just look at the rumble strips or the humps on those roads, they just discourage road users. Sometimes they throw drivers out of the road. And that is why you find that, like Mukono, Katosi, Njeru, drivers are just shunning that road. And yet it would be a very good alternative for decongesting the main Jinja-Kampala road. But the rumble strips on those roads are so dangerous. There was another very, very bad ramp in Idudi. That ramp kept on throwing drivers out of the road until I was told one day it hit a high-profile person in this country who ordered for the ramp to be removed. But it was so dangerous. So dangerous. It was so huge. And I wonder what kind of design our engineers are doing. So, Right Honorable Speaker, the other thing that I would like to talk about is the lack of road signs. The road signs are not there, hardly there. Sometimes when they are there, people come and take them. So I would suggest that government comes up with road signs that cannot be easily removed, like those made out of concrete, which cannot easily be pulled out. In this way, we shall be able to save most of the lives that we lose. Finally, as I end, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to talk about the importance of government putting in place deterrent measures against drunk driving. In the US and other advanced countries, you cannot handle a vehicle after taking alcohol. Uganda, we are renowned for being the second, number 2 in consumption of alcohol. Yet after consuming alcohol, we just go and we are behind the wheels. And this is how we end up killing so many of our people. So I want government to strengthen measures that can actually make drunk driving a deterrent. In the US and other jurisdictions, When they suspect you've taken some bit of alcohol and you are driving, they make you to stand on 1 foot and they see how you are able to balance, to see the brain's capacity to balance with your muscles. And in that way, they detect so many errant road users. Finally, we have the laws. We have the laws, but government is not enforcing them. I thank you, Right Honorable.
Finally. Thank you. Can I have Gulu City? And then the honorable member behind. Honorable members also now know that it is 4 o'clock. Usually is Prime Minister's question time. But I wanted us to conclude this motion. So I'm going to request the Right Honorable Prime Minister to give me some time to complete this motion. And then we'll go to Prime Minister's question time. Thank you. We are rolling up now. Yes, the honorable member for Gulu. Then the honorable.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I join the rest of the colleagues in thanking.
2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. I would like to thank the mover of this motion. Right Honorable Speaker, part of the problem we have in this country is that people charged with the responsibility of designing these roads seems not to be doing a good job. But the other bigger problem is that when citizens raise concerns and complaints, people who should take responsibility and attend to them do not do the needful. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to give an example in Gulu, where a road was built in 2015. This is at Gulu Atiak Road. There is a section from Custom Corner to Bank of Uganda. That 3-kilometer stretch alone from 2015 to this day has claimed 11 lives. We have had over 300 cases of terrible accidents in that section. When I was chair of Gulu, I wrote several letters to UNRWA, raising concerns. Unfortunately, no step has been taken to this day. There is another stretch it's on Kampala Road, from Laibi Junction to the city center, just about 2.1 kilometers. The drainage, the way it has been built, several lives have been lost. Right Honorable Speaker, I think it is important that the Ministry of Works and UNRWA have to take responsibility when citizens raise concern, because for how long are we going to continue losing lives? And I want to appeal to the Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, for some of us who know how much commitment you have, I want to appeal to you. You're a very proactive man. The section from Custom Corner to Bank of Uganda has claimed 11 lives. It will continue claiming so many lives. And this is something that can be corrected so our people can have safety. Right, Honorable Speaker, this country will begin to have some level of safety the moment people charged with that.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we need to draw to a close, but let me have, is that Nyabusozi? Nyabusozi, Molata. Nyabusozi, Molata. Start with Nyabusozi, then Molata.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Sorry, I thought I had a Molatar.
I said Nyabusozi, Molata.
So, but we can start the other way around as well.
Using which prerogative?
Oh, apologies.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank the mover of the motion, and I raised support the motion. And mainly, the challenge that we have is the poor roads. We cannot talk of safety when we still have very poor roads. For instance, and this is attributed to low budget. Right Honorable Speaker, if we want our roads to improve, we must improve on the budget of works. I will take example of Kayip roads. We have the challenge of Kayip roads. the project that was implemented in 2015-2016. The project got out and submitted to the district. Since then, those roads are not worked on. For instance, in my area, Kaip Road covers 225 kilometers that are not allocated resources. So you cannot talk of safety when those roads are still making a lot of accidents. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, because of time.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Amolata, I think we have a problem in this zone.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the motion. And there is one critical issue that I would like to raise. In my experience, consulting in the infrastructure development works, there's an aspect of social safeguards, which is always a critical component in every road construction. Unfortunately, social safeguards are only considered in major tarmac roads. Social safeguards are mainly issues that must be considered in any road construction. How the construction is being done, we've seen in rural communities where marams are dumped and stayed there like for 6 months or more. And that is where the major issues of accidents come. We've also seen issues in major road constructions where there are no signs to show maybe whether there's work going on here or not. So my humble appeal to the Ministry of Works is that these social safeguards need to be considered, not only for major roads, but also for rural roads. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of safeguards also involves the supervision. When we were growing up and up to now, when you drive in the major roads, there are people we used to call the road gangs, whose responsibility was supposed to be moving around these roads to supervise and report some of these issues that members are raising. Could the minister be able to abreast us with the information of what mechanisms are now in place to ensure every regular supervision of these roads? Members have talked about signs. I know signs are being removed, but for me in Amolatar, where 99% roads are rural, are there provisions for signs for those small corners and rural roads that are being constructed without any signs to show the road users where to move? Finally, members have talked about standards and width of the road. The access roads that we have in our rural communities are too narrow for the road users to use, as well as the motor. To these rural roads, construction.
Thank you very much.
Standards. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to join my colleagues and appreciate the mover of the motion. The main thing is I want to urge the Minister of Works and the entire ministry to make sure we have proper maintenance of these roads and regular checks. A case in point, Right Honorable Speaker, is those of us who use the northern connection, Bombo Road, from Kampala to around Mijera. The road is marked and labeled very well. But from Mijera around Shell up to around Kigumba, there are many corners, many potholes, and actually when you're moving, there's always some hitch, as if the road is never completed up to now. And the road was commissioned. If you happen to drive there in the night, it is bad news. So when with such roads, there's no you can say we shall not have road accidents. Then the other thing is most of the roads are built with very many corners. Talk of Kigumba Kienjojo Road. I'll just pick out this stretch from Bulima to Hoima. There are very many corners. in that even when you are driving at a speed of 60 kilometers per hour, you can easily get an accident. You find most of these contractors, they avoid compensating the people. So the way the other road was moving, the Maram one, is the way the tarmac equally moves. And at the end of the day, where are we going? So when we are building some of these roads, we need to make sure the corners are.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I think we should pause it here. We have had a good discussion on this matter because it's important. All of us know that road safety is critical, and the carnage that we suffer on this road, the reports that we see, and sometimes the very graphic images, coupled with the fact that the morality of Ugandans have gone down. Each time there's an accident, people are filling the victim's pockets, and those who are not doing so are taking pictures and posting on social media instead of saving lives. And this is part of the problem. And we need a lot of mind shift, mind change discussions to make our citizens more responsible, even when they respond to accident situations. Honorable members, as I communicated earlier, I have a guest. He has come to be the main celebrant in the Thanksgiving, Holy Communion, and Christmas Carol, which is organized by the Anglican Chaplaincy. And it's starting about, should have started at 4 o'clock. But I am still here. So the members who are here, I'm going to release you to go until, for me, I'll finish this business, which is about to end. So in the VIP gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation from the Church of Uganda. They include His Grace, the Most Reverend Dr. Stephen Samuel Kazimba, Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Bishop Samuel Egesa, Bishop of Bukede. It's Bukedi. Reverend Jackson Kansime, the chaplain to the Archbishop. Reverend Canon Christine Shimanya, Anglican chaplain in Parliament, our own here. They have come here to observe the proceedings, but I think also to let us know that they are already here. So, so that whatever we do, we try to accommodate them. You are welcome, Archbishop and the delegation. We are still doing this part of the business, and then we'll see how to come over and make that a success as well. I'm going to ask the leader of the opposition to speak in about a minute. And then I'll remind the minister that is not a ministerial statement, it's a motion. Most of your answers should come in the implementation, the resolution of the motion, rather than a speech in Parliament. So you just make some very short comments to allow me deal with another urgent matter. Yes, leader of the opposition.
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the road sector in Uganda actually is now the most important mode of transportation. A study has already shown that it accommodates about 97% of the freight cargo and 99% of the passenger traffic. And this is very heavy. Mine is to provide alternatives to the minister. Because as a matter of fact, you remember in 2005, the World Health Global Status Report adversely mentioned Uganda on issues of road safety. In fact, we were placed to be among the worst performing 20 countries in road carnage. And by the way, with the increased mobility, there is also increased levels of fatalities because the roads connect goods and the persons to markets, jobs and opportunities. But Uganda has a comparative advantage, especially if you look at the capital city we have. We have a water body, which if it were actually exploited or put to best use, what most of the freight cargo which comes from the seaport would be ferried through this water body, Lake Victoria. And if you were to read through the strategic plan, the Metropolitan KCCA strategic plan, it is mentioned as an alternative to relieve our roads of the stress of these freight cargo vehicles. It is true Uganda, as we appreciate, we have only one international airport. But even then, with the revival of the Uganda Airways, I expected your ministry to also seriously come up with initiatives of domestic flights. And in the neighboring countries, we have seen they have domestic flights which are affordable. Equally here, we have Eagle Air. We have so many of these companies that would have actually helped to relieve the stress on the roads, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if the focus is about reducing on road, or it is about road injury prevention, it should start with us as Parliament. I've been a keen observer on the Parliament Avenue. Now that we have offices on buildings like Queen Chambers, like a development house, particularly development, members who cross from there. Actually, one time I offered to help one of the honorable members, a lady, I will not mention, because the way our people drive, you know, the border borders, other motorists have no respect even for zebra crossings. And even I highly doubt whether there is one. There used to be one, but it eventually faded, and the responsible authority has not put it back. But I'm of the view, through you, Right Honorable Speaker, that the minister would consider installing some barriers on that road to regulate the traffic for the sake of the people's representatives. Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, in that report of World Health Organization, Uganda was adversely mentioned, but was praised for having the best regulatory framework on road safety. For instance, we came up with a brilliant idea of safety belts, speed governors. Can you imagine those who were procuring speed governors abused it, including procuring for tractors? Honestly, procuring speed governors for tractors. Can you imagine? It happened. But enforcement of some of those good laws has always remained a problem for the ministry and for the country. Honorable Minister, you will appreciate that the road from Mbale to Soroti consumed 109 billion. And the other stretch, the other section from Tororo to Mbale, 63.7 billion. And that was 2015, before it was commissioned. But hardly a year down the road, even as you see, the quality of that road was compromised, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I think you have amended the time sufficiently. Now, wind up.
Oh, thank you. In the interest of time, I will conclude by calling upon you to ensure that your ministry, which you have just inherited anyway, riddled with all manner of corruption, because most of these roads get huge allocations through those contracts, but the quality is compromised under your superintendence, Mr. Minister. So this should be nipped in the bud. I know you as a very serious arrow boy, and I know you can fight this like you fought in that war. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Briefly.
I want to first of all join the voices of my honorable colleagues in indicating the timeliness of the motion. It has come at a time when we are, as a country, have joined the rest of the world community in marking World Traffic Safety Week. I have noted with a lot of keen interest all the issues that the members have raised, and I want to commit that by the time we come here as a ministry, we will come with the measures that we have put in place to attempt to address as many, if not all, the critical issues that the honorable colleagues have raised. But Mr. Speaker, just one thing. My technical people in the ministry have told me there are 4 critical elements responsible for accidents. The first one is, of course, the road itself, the surface of the road. The second one is the vessel that is used, the vehicle. The third one is the user, the driver. And the fourth is the people around where we are passing. I want to say before I sit, Mr. Speaker, last week I drew the attention of these honorable cabinet colleagues of mine to a serious development that we may have been taking for granted. The technical people have guided me that the design of all our roads in the country, the design of all our roads, including this new express highway, is such that we are not supposed to exceed 100 kilometers per hour, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, right from all of us here, including you, sir, I am not sure whether we have been observing this
Would
very
you
keenly.
like to speak for yourself?
Yes, sir. Especially myself and honorable colleagues. I want to beg, Mr. Speaker, that in the next few weeks, I will be coming with my technical people responsible for sensitization to really hammer these points so that the citizens, right from us, the leaders, down to the person who uses the border. Thankfully, Mr. Speaker, as we talk, there is a meeting going on between my technical people and critical stakeholders across the country to see how best we can really eliminate, if we cannot eliminate, minimize the road carnage that is afflicting the country. And that also is going to address the question of what people have described in Kampala as organized chaos, the question of the borders. Finally, I will take the question of Gulu, particularly Custom Corner, to Bank of Uganda personally to see what can be done. There is also this question of Kapir Mukura. As I pass there, I will direct some interventions so that by the time I come back here to give this House a comprehensive strategy that the minister has put in place to address all these concerns and to mobilize you to support us. My hope is that some of those issues will have already been addressed. I want to thank you and thank Honorable for very objectively opening us to really remember what we are supposed to do and do very well. I thank.
Thank you very much. Good discussion, good debate, very well informed, I must say. Thank you, honorable members, and congratulations for a very, very successful debate. I now put the question to this motion that by resolution, Parliament urges government to strengthen, by this resolution, Parliament urges government to strengthen efforts for promoting road safety in Uganda. I put the question to that motion. Those in favor say aye, to the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Next item.
Item number 6, Prime Minister's time.
Right, Honorable. Oh, sorry.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand here to respond to questions Prime Minister time, honorable members of Parliament, starting with the Honorable Tuka Isaac, Joaquino, Member of Parliament for Upper Madi County, Okoro District. The background for colleagues to get the question proper runs like this. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the Agricultural Cluster Development Project, ACDP, which is a 6-year World Bank funded project operating in more than 20 districts in Uganda, expires in March 2022. To date, most of the multi-billion shillings projects under this loan local facilities have never started, particularly the road chokes.
Your microphone, your microphone.
In Upper Madi County, the road chokes estimated at a cost of 4.4 billion, included in the report, have never been worked on. The side roads are in very bad shape. Now, this is the background, response to the questions which is that the right Honourable Prime Minister, can you update the country, particularly the people of Upper Madi County, as to when implementation of this project will start? The response is, Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members, the Agricultural Cluster Development Project, ACDP, is ongoing. The government undertook the rehabilitation of road chokes under this project in a phased manner. Rehabilitation of road chokes in the pilot districts have been completed. Rehabilitation of road chokes in the first rollout covering 21 districts is at the contract signing stage, and work is expected to start in late December 2021. The last rollout covering 29 districts is at a bidding stage, and work is expected to commence in February 2022. The last rollout covering 29 districts is at bidding stage, and work is expected to commence in February 2022. For Balio-Okoro districts, the call for service provider was run in December 2020, but unfortunately, all the bidders quoted way above the available resources. The rescoping of the rehabilitation works to fit within the available resources is being done, and the contract signing is expected by end of December 2021. Question number 2. What happens to all the other components of the agricultural cluster development project, which have either been sold or are in progress for far before the completion? Response, Right Honorable Speaker, other components will be completed within the closing date of March 2022. The government has requested for a no-cost extensions of 18 months to enable the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry, and Fisheries, the agriculture cluster, development projects to finalize all the pending activities and rehabilitation works. This ends the question of Balio-Okoro. The next question, Mr. Speaker, sir, is Honorable Mbabazi Jennifer Chemuhendo, Member of Parliament, Kagadi Districts, asks the following questions. Again, for the members to understand the question easily, the small background information, which I want to go through quickly, which reads, the Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited entered into contract with the ILF Consulting Engineers, Austrian ILF, for the Muzizi hydropower project in 2016. With the financial support from the project in 2016, the government of Uganda, KfW, German Development Bank, and Agency for French Development, that's AFD. The project affected persons were to be compensated as per agreed and approved compensation report by the chief government evaluator. The date no compensation has been made, and yet the said persons stopped using their land for economic activities such as farming, which is a means of means of survival. The project affected persons have also never been provided alternatives to their economic activities that can generate income for their survival. This had led to food insecurity as well as poverty. On the annual budget estimate, financial year 2021-2022 established that there was a significant low in release and absorption of funds, especially donor funds, to some of the core projects, one of which was Muzizi hydropower project, which did not receive any donor funds as had been budgeted. The report of the Auditor General 2020 indicated that the construction of Muzizi hydropower project had not commenced after close to 4 years from the date of signing the credit facility. As of 30th June 2020, government has so far paid the commitment fees amounting to euro 798,750. This is the background. The question here is now, why is there a delay in the commencement of the Muzizi hydropower project? The response is the commencement of the project has majorly been affected by one, persistent delays by KfW Development Bank of Germany, the main financier to issue approvals at various stages of the project. Two, change in the visibility study design. Three, Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited, UEGCL, did not receive a competitive bid for the works contract. Government is committed to ensure the project is successful. Question number 4. When will the project affected persons under Muzizi hydropower project be compensated? The response is compensation payments for the project affected persons which commenced in 2019 are currently ongoing, with the 418 project affected persons having been fully paid, 25 project affected persons having been partially paid, 75 project affected persons submitted for payment, and 133 project affected persons are being assessed for payment. Question 5. What alternatives the government has for the project affected persons who put aside their economic activities owing to the project? Respond, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. Government will be implementing the livelihood restoration plan and a community development plan. Interventions will include initiatives to enable communities cope with effects of the project. Right Honorable Speaker, It should be noted that project affected persons who have received their full compensation amount have been given notices to vacate the affected land. Those who are yet to be fully compensated continue to utilize their land, especially for growing seasonal crops. Question number 6, whether the government will carry out fresh evaluation exercise owing to the time lag of 6 years in execution of the project. Response, Right Honorable Speaker, it is not true that there has been a 6-year lag in compensation payment since the main valuation report was approved by the Chief Government Valuer in 2019. All those who would have been affected by the delay were revalued, and the valuation report was approved. Government will continue to fast-track compensation payments to project affected persons. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable, for the responses to question. Leader of the opposition, briefly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Let me thank the Deputy Prime Minister for the response, detailed. But what remains of concern, Right Honorable Prime Minister, on this first question of the Honorable Isaac Joakino, is about the agricultural cluster development project. That project, it is expiring in March 2022. That's of grave concern because it has been in developmental projects. It has done a lot, and it seems your response was shy at government efforts in ensuring that that project is renewed, just like your office helped to renew NUSAF. We have NUSAF 1, 2, now 3. Equally, what efforts are your ministry doing to continue using the good connections with the development partners to ensure that this agricultural cluster development project is renewed so that we have a CDP 1, a CDP 2. Now about the failure on the unfortunate bid by government to get bidders, because most of them are reported way above the available resources. What will you do if it continues to be like that? I thought the alternative has always been force on account to redeem the funds that are, because these are funds which are mobilized through a credit facility, and they are accumulating lots of commitment funds, commitment fees to a tune of almost 800,000 euros. That's too much. And those are commitment fees. How about interest? Because it is not also mentioned. So that's plus other loans. This House, the Right Honorable Speaker, ought to be furnished with the way these loans are performing, because most of the challenges are the delays to execute the projects, and that attracts lots of commitment fees and interest. And it is the case here, which the Right Honorable Prime Minister has attempted to respond to. But about the project affected persons now, I see 4 categories of them. Very few you have paid. There are those who have been partially paid. There are those who are yet to be paid. And then there are those who are being assessed. And it has taken a whopping 4 years. Honestly, that's a duration by which you should have helped to know the genuine project affected persons. And by the way, government, from the look of things, you are overwhelmed by those who need the compensation, the projected affected persons, and this is one of them. Moreover, the money is there, but lying idle. Lack of absorption, Mr. Speaker, is a serious challenge, and something must be done to urge government to ensure that funds that are mobilized through loans are used in the right time or in a good time, so that we do not pay those costs or even end up losing on the donors, because it is indiscipline, financial indiscipline, to fail to consume when you have the money.
Finally,
Mr. Speaker, sir, is on this question of the valuer. The valuer, if you are in dispute with the Honorable's question about the hydro power station of Musizi, because she mentioned 6 years lag, but even you also almost concur, but yours is 2 years lag. Still, that is a delay. So you ought to harmonize and ensure that the project is executed in a good time. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
thank you very much. Good questions, good response, and good comment by the leader of the opposition. Next item.
Item number 5, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Budget on the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility and Economic and Fiscal Update for the financial year 2021-22 to financial year 2025 to 26.
Thank you, Chair. Please come. Honorable members, given the importance of this particular report, Charter of Fiscal Responsibility, which is a statutory document that we need to look at, the committee has done its work. I've looked through what they have done, and it's good. I was proposing that we receive the document so that it is put on all our systems and members can update themselves on what the committee has recommended. And then when we come back, the chairman will now give a very brief introduction and summary of what they have recommended. And then we can have a debate and take a decision. So for now, Chair, if okay, you'd lay the document. We want to give a short comment of about 3 minutes. I will allow that.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, members. This report of the Budget Committee on the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility for financial 2021-22, financial 25-26. Such as Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, this document was laid on 9th September. We've done a lot of work together with Ministry of Finance. The Minister is here, he can confirm. We've consulted and I have a report here, and we agree on most of the issues and the amendments which we propose to the charter. So I beg to lay a report on the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility with the proposed amendments, and I hope the House will adopt this recommendation. I beg to lay a report.
Thank you. Let the records capture that. It's now formally before Parliament, and if it was already on the iPad, now this is the time to have it proved properly because the document has been laid before us. And to have a good debate, we need to look at it. Yes, Chair.
Right Honorable Speaker, it was uploaded. Members have it and have internalized it. I beg to read the following documents to accompany this in minutes of the committee meetings. The brief by Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development on the Chart of Fiscal Responsibility for financial year 2020, 2022, 25, 26. And the charter itself, copy, the economic and fiscal update, Bank of Uganda views on the Chart of Fiscal Responsibility, the Economic Policy Research Center memorandum on the charter, National Planning Authority response to the charter, the opposition response to the charter, civil society budget advocacy group key issues considered on the charter. I beg to read.
Let the records capture all those documents to inform further engagement and debate on this matter. Thank you very much.
Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, we've processed this with our colleague on the opposite side. We've agreed on the issues, so we don't have a minority report on this.
Thank you. Let the records capture those. Honorable members, this one will be requiring a debate, a proper debate, and I've looked at the order paper and there are some other issues that might require debate. The reason I am not sending Parliament on recess today is because we haven't received the budget framework paper. I am being advised that the document will be discussed by Cabinet on Monday, and Tuesday it should come to Parliament. And my estimation, therefore, is we cannot go beyond Tuesday because it would have gone too far. We will go after Tuesday. So what I'm proposing, honorable members, and if you agree, in order that we have sufficient time, and the challenge that this proposal will come with is that we'll not have a single minister, or we request the leader of the business here and the whip to consult and see if we can have some ministers here. I was going to propose that we have a discussion on Monday afternoon to reduce on the burden on what we need to do on Tuesday, so that on Tuesday we receive the budget framework paper and maybe have one or two discussions, and then I send the House on recess. If that is acceptable, then we can do Monday afternoon. The circumstances are as I have explained. So if I have a concurrence that I'll have some ministers here, then it would be a good thing to do.
So speakers, I think we shall arrange as requested.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, with that concurrence from the Right Honorable Prime Minister, that I will have a house of both backbenchers and front benchers. This house, for the purposes aforementioned, is now adjourned to Monday, 2 o'clock.
Let's do it.